All right, good afternoon, everyone. William Cole here in the Forecast Center. And just like we talked about throughout the day, fire danger across Oklahoma, a fairly significant fire danger day. And we do have a brand new wildfire here. This is up around the Seiling area, and there's just been a wildfire warning issued for the town of Seiling. If you live in the Seiling area, you're being urged to evacuate and evacuate right now. And this is the reason why our storm trackers are on the scene. We're going to talk to them momentarily. But again, you can see just this large smoke cloud coming up right there. This is intense. And again, we're going to get a different perspective of this fire coming up here again just momentarily. But again, I just want to pass this along one more time. Again, if you live right there in the immediate Seiling area, you're being urged to evacuate. The best evacuation route would be to the northwest. There are some shelters that they're now opening in Woodward. So if you can evacuate towards the Woodward area, there are shelters now opening in the Woodward area. But again, if you live in Seiling, it's this fire right here that, again, really not mandatory, but you're being urged to evacuate, again, the town of Seiling. So let's go take a different perspective. We're going to get back to the video and check in with our storm trackers here momentarily. If you look carefully here, and of course Seiling being right up in here, you can actually see the smoke plume. There's some high-level cloud cover moving through, but you can actually see the smoke plume right there developing with that fire. So again, fairly impressive what's going on up there right now. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to check in again with our team of trackers. They're out and about, and first of all, Michael Russ, he's essentially right there on the scene. They're just now arriving. And so, Mike, we're going to check your video here real quick as well. But go ahead and give us a live update. You're essentially right there arriving in the Seiling area. And go ahead and tell us what's going on up there right now.
Yes, William, we're going to be just a few miles to the southwest of Seiling right now. But we've got a very good vantage point. We're coming into the Tologa area here. William, I can tell you this is a monster fire. I know when we first started covering the Ray fire Thursday, I don't even think it was as impressive as this one, William. This one is a monster. I mean, it looks, from what we can see, we see four different areas, main areas of fire out here, four smoke plumes that are just gigantic and just billowing way up in the sky here, William. This is a very, very dangerous situation. I know these fires are definitely moving. Very intense out here, William. This is not a situation to mess around with. I know we've got multiple roads being closed down right now. Multiple evacuation orders are being put into place. But William, this is a monster fire out here. If I had to guess, as its width here, with the four kind of separate fires that we're seeing, it's probably at least 5 to 10 miles in width, heading, looks like it's northbound here, William. But it is, again, just a huge monster fire. Like I said, I really do believe this is even bigger than what we saw with the Ray fire when it first started. So this is a huge fire. My heart really goes out to these people, William. It really does, because this is a monster out here, William.
Yeah, and it came up fairly quickly out there too, Mike. I mean, this is one, we've had several fires out there. In fact, you guys were on a fire just to the south, down around Thomaston, one near Putnam. And this one here just went up, and it went up fairly quickly. And again, that's what we've been talking about as we've really gone through the day today, the significant fire danger that, again, it's essentially a tinderbox. And again, you know, to almost use a word that we use with severe weather, I mean, things can kind of explode. And that's essentially what's happened with this fire. And again, this is up here around the Seiling area. I just want to pass along one more time that, again, if you do live in the Seiling area, you're being urged to evacuate immediately. Evacuate to the northwest as possible, if possible. And again, there are some, at least there's some, up in the Woodward area, there's at least some areas that you can go to right now, again, up there in the Woodward area. So, you know, if you're in the Seiling area, evacuate to the northwest as possible, and again, up towards Woodward. And again, there are some shelters up now opening in the Woodward area. Exactly where those shelters are and exactly what those are, we'll try and clarify that here over the next few minutes, but that's just the initial word that we've gotten off of the weather wire. So we're losing the smoke plume here just a little bit. in Mike's video, but again, they're closing in. They're just on the southern sides of this fire. We also have Aaron Spencer. He's going to be arriving on this fire momentarily as well. But again, Mike, we're still looking at your video here. And again, this should come back into perspective fairly quickly. You can see basically where Mike is driving here. A lot of these other places have already been burned. You can see all the burn scars here. That's, of course, not what we're concerned about today. Again, it's this active fire. And again, there's the smoke plume coming back into range there. And again, like I said, this out of control wildfire now close to the Seiling area. And again, if you're in the Seiling area, just to pass this information one more time, again, you're being urged to evacuate the Seiling area. And again, if possible, evacuate to the northwest towards Woodward. And again, that's where there have been some shelters opened in the Woodward area there in northwestern Oklahoma. So Mike, we're still looking at your video. I know you're closing in on it there from the south. And again, you kind of should be in position there fairly quickly. And there's another look at that smoke plume. So fairly large there, fairly dynamic and impressive. But Mike, again, as you're getting a little bit closer, again, still kind of give us a play-by-play. You're our eyes in the field there. You're closing in on it. We're essentially having to kind of look at it from a distance or through a TV screen here. But go ahead and give us another live update.
Yes, William. Again, we're going to be north of Taloga now. We have 270 that goes into Woodward. We're almost to that intersection. We're on 183 right now. And William, I can tell you, it is just, I mean, massive. It looks like if I were to guess, it looks like it started somewhere around the 270 area. And this is, I mean, it's just a line of smoke out here, William, for miles. This is just a monster fire. I would say, yes, if you're in the town of Seiling, you get out of there. Because I know it's knocking on your doorsteps, and it's going to be moving quick. The other thing we've been talking about, William, was that the cirrus clouds were kind of helping suppress the winds a little bit, so we didn't have that thermal mixing of air.
We may have lost Mike there just temporarily. Again, keep in mind he's fairly rural, so his audio may go in and out.
That is not good news.
A little bit there. So Mike, we're kind of lost you a little bit in and out. What I want to do just real quickly here, I'm going to switch from your video. I want to put up live wind gusts around Oklahoma. And again, this is what we're dealing with out there. And again, we have essentially here in Dewey County, we have the southwesterly wind, 25 to near 35 miles per hour. That's giving this fire the potential to spread upstream at nearly 35 miles per hour. So in other words, as the winds come in from the southwest, the fire spread or the fire behavior and movement is going to be towards the northeast. So again, even you folks up there in Major County, far southwestern Major County, again, heads up on this fire. We'll have to see how quickly the fire officials try and get this under control, or how quickly they're able to get this one under control as well. That's the winds. Let me also show you the other piece of this weather story today. And again, we'll get back to Mike and his video momentarily here. It's the temperatures out here. And this is why we're talking about a tinderbox. Again, you can see up here in the Seiling area, it's currently 94 degrees. In Woodward, it's currently 97. So we're approaching 100 now in western Oklahoma, Altus Air Force Base at 99. So again, you take those gusty winds, as dry as it's been out there, humidities are now dropping to near 10%, temperatures in the 90s. And again, that's why we're just, you know, a lot of times we talk about extreme fire danger. That's kind of the top tier fire danger in Oklahoma. Well, today, similar to Thursday and Friday of last week, this is essentially off the scale. It's just a significant fire danger day. And again, that's what we're seeing. And again, that's why we're kind of getting these fires, not just developing, but again, exploding like the one we're seeing out there around the Seiling area. So we're going back to the video. Again, you can see Mike and Jesse. This is their live shot there. They're getting closer now to the fire. And again, just to kind of relay information again, if you do live in the Seiling area, again, you're being asked to evacuate. There's a wildfire warning in effect for the Seiling area specifically. And again, you're being asked to evacuate. If possible, evacuate to the northwest towards Woodward. There are some type of shelters being opened in Woodward. What those are right now, we don't know, or where they are. We don't have that information yet. That was just passed along. There is some type of a shelter or shelters that are now opening in Woodward. And again, it's going to be for the folks displaced in Seiling. Again, you're being asked to evacuate again immediately. Again, with this a wildfire warning now in effect there for the town of Seiling. Mike, you're still in the live line. I know you guys are getting there as quickly as possible. You're closing in on the fire. Go ahead and tell us where you are now. and just kind of how far away you are from the fire. No, the shot of the smoke is kind of going in and out of the shot here, but again, they're doing all they can to go ahead and get up there. The road curves around just a little bit. But Mike, you're still in the live line. We've still got your video. Go ahead and give us a live update.
Yes, William. I've actually got it here from the Woodward News as well. The shelter for the evacuees is being opened at this time at Faith United Methodist Church. And that's going to be in Woodward on 14th and Texas Avenue. That is going to be one of the shelters there for the people displaced by this fire at this time, William.
Okay,
but
great.
again, this is a huge fire. From every report we're getting, it's going to be just to the east of Seiling right now. But again, just a massive fire, William. Here in a minute, our shot will be coming back around, and you'll be really able to see exactly what we're talking about when we say this thing is just miles long. And it's burning to the northeast right now. It is just a monster, William, and it did. You said it earlier that it kind of just exploded, and it really did. It was kind of a smaller fire a little bit ago, and it just grew just massively real quick. And that's something that the forestry and everybody else were talking about today was a possibility of happening out here. And William, sadly, that's all verifying. But this is just explosive growth out here on this fire. I mean, like I said, I can't even put it into perspective here. But our camera just turned. We just made our right towards the Seiling area. And William, I can't even get the whole fire in the shot here. So this is a huge, huge fire. We're actually going to be 2 miles west of Seiling right now. So we'll be coming into the Seiling area. But everything we're hearing right now is that they're evacuating places in the Seiling area right now. So that's another thing we're going to see out here. But this is just a massive, massive fire, William.
Yeah, not a good situation at all. I mean, our hearts are definitely with the folks there in the Seiling area and really Dewey County. It's been a tough last 5-6 days for the folks there. And so, you know, the video here, the streaming video is generally delayed about 30 seconds, 15 to 30 seconds. So that turn that Mike was talking about, we should see it in his shot here coming up fairly quickly. And as soon as we see it, I think maybe he's just now about to take the turn. And so we'll be able to get a better vantage point of exactly what he's talking about and exactly what's going on there. So we want to kind of stick with this, and we don't really necessarily want to switch away from it, again, only because we're waiting for, again, just to kind of get a better vantage point of what's going on here. So Mike, you're still on the live line with us. Go and give us that information again for the folks evacuating the Seiling area. I believe you said it was the Faith United Methodist Church. Is that correct? That's opened their doors now in the Woodward area?
Yes, William. This is from the Woodward News. It's going to be a shelter for evacuees. It's being opened at this time at Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward at 14th and Texas Avenue. Again, that's going to be Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward at 14th and Texas Avenue. But William, we're coming into the town of Seiling right now, and this is just a monster fire. The smoke plume is actually going to be just to the east of town right now, so that is a good thing at this time. That the town of Seiling is not socked in by the smoke plume. But don't let your guard down. This fire has already experienced explosive growth. So this is just a monster fire, William.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Mike. And again, we're still just kind of waiting for your video here to catch up. And again, as soon as it catches up, we should be able to kind of at least get a better vantage point. I think this is just now the turn that you were talking about. And now we're going to be able to finally kind of get the vantage point. We've been kind of waiting on your video there to catch up. So here we go. But yeah, there it is. Wow. Yeah, absolutely. That is a dynamic fire. That looks very similar to some of the shots we saw with the Ray fire, and then also the fire that we were dealing with, I believe, in Caddo County, maybe 3 weeks ago. So not a good situation. You can obviously see why the evacuation orders are in place there around the Seiling area. So again, no doubt an out of control wildfire, huge smoke plume coming up there. And again, keep in mind, this is wind driven. So we have winds now gusting 30, 35 miles per hour in that area. And that's easily driving the fire forward. And also the thing you have to remember, the embers from the fire, just like, again, if you have a campfire and the little small things that come up as the wind blows the fire, the embers that come up, as those are blown downstream or right away from the fire, wherever they land, they easily can start additional fires kind of downstream as well, as the wind is blowing those, again, from the southwest to the northeast. So again, just not a good situation. Typically at this time in April, things are really starting to green up. We're talking, a lot of times, unfortunately, about severe weather this time of year. That just has not been the case, especially in western Oklahoma. A lot of these locations in western Oklahoma are under an extreme drought, which is top tier drought criteria. And again, there just has not been a lot of rain in western Oklahoma. Things are still fairly brown. There's a lot of dry tinder out there. And again, with this dry line that came through, similar to really the last several fire days that we've had, with the humidities dropping to 5%, temperatures in the 90s, those things we just talked about and showed you the maps. Again, it's just unfortunately, it's a powder keg. And, fires that do start, again, they grow rapidly and they spread rapidly in these conditions. And again, that's what we're seeing out there, again, unfortunately, today as well. So Mike, you're still on the live line, and I believe I heard from Aaron. We're going to check in with Aaron coming up here in just a second. I know he's closing in on this fire from the other location, from the east to the west, closing in on the fire. But right now we're just going to kind of stick with Mike's videos. He's coming into range here. And so Mike, you're still on the live line with us. Just to reiterate, there is a wildfire warning in effect for the Seiling area. Again, if you live in Seiling, you're being asked to evacuate to the northwest if possible. If possible, evacuate to the northwest towards the Woodward area. And again, in Woodward, the Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward, the Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward has actually opened its doors as at least kind of a temporary shelter, if you will. So again, if you're displaced right now in Seiling, again, going to the northwest towards Woodward, if possible, evacuating in that direction. The Faith United Methodist Church, again, right now they've opened their doors, and again, you're welcome to go there. Again, if you're evacuating from the Seiling area, again, with this wildfire warning, this out of control wildfire now bearing down, again, on the Seiling area, again, Dewey County, we're talking about western and northwestern Oklahoma here. So Mike, again, you're coming within range here. And in fact, we see the water tower there. It looks like that is the Seiling water tower. Give us an update on this fire as you're coming in within range here, and tell us the very latest.
Yes, William. We're actually going to be doing, looks like, what highway are we on here? We're on 270 right now. Now, where we're at, they have not closed down the highway as of yet. But, however, we are now kind of in an awkward position here. We do have a fire to our south that's going to be coming towards the 270 area. And we've got one that has hopped the highway and is now north of the 270. But William, these are monster fires out here. Rapid growth, dark smoke, just extremely powerful fires out here, William. In fact, again, like I said, I really do believe that they're going to be stronger than what we saw with a more intense fire than what we saw last Thursday with the definitely just blew up, William. This is just a huge, massive fire. I think we're going to actually have to reposition here, William.
Okay, Mike, we're going to get back to you coming up here momentarily. And Aaron Spencer, I believe you're also kind of coming within range there now as well to the fire. And again, you're coming in from the east, traveling to the west. Mike's coming up from the south. And yeah, Aaron, I was just finally able to get your video up here. And yeah, we're looking at your video now. Man, this is not good. So Aaron Spencer there on the scene as well. Aaron, go ahead and give us a live update. Tell us exactly where you are right now with this fire. Mike, I also see your video coming in now as well. Both shots here not looking good. But Aaron, go and tell us exactly where you are and give us a live update.
Yes, William, we are on OK 51 and the intersection of US 270 East. We've got large flames right here in front of us. They've died down here just a little bit, but I mean, the winds are, extraordinary out here. I mean, they're going from the south to the north at a high rate of speed. We've also got another fire just to our south going on, or just to our west, sorry, going on 270 to the west. But these fires out here, William, are large, and We're going to be keeping an eye on them. Anybody that's in the path of these fires, you need to get out of the way as soon as possible. Get enough of your belongings that are important. Don't worry about anything else. Just get out of the way of these fires, and we'll be keeping you guys updated as much as possible. William, back to you.
Yeah, Aaron, that's great advice. And again, just not a good-looking situation here at all. In fact, we're going to go ahead and kind of switch here to a double box view of these fires. So again, one view here is what Mike's looking at. The other view is what Aaron's looking at. And again, I just want to reiterate one more time that it's really this serious that, again, if you do live in the Seiling area and around the Seiling area, again, wildfire warning in effect. You're being asked to evacuate immediately. And again, this is why. These pictures right here, this is why. So we have fire seasons in Oklahoma, typically from the end of December through at least the first part of March. We generally get wildfires. We understand those. Mike, we've got your video here as well. Give me 1 second here. So, we understand the fire danger. We do have these seasons occasionally. This is upper end Oklahoma fire weather. We saw it last week, Thursday and Friday, and, we're seeing it now as well. And, these are sometimes once every 10-year type events that we get here. And again, that's essentially what we're seeing. This is not an every year occurrence. This is dangerous stuff here, folks. This is very dangerous. And again, there's property, and look at these flames. And this is what Mike's talking about. My gosh, look at those flames there. Look how tall. Mike, what would you estimate the size of those flames? How tall are those? Those are wind-driven flames. Not good there at all. Those easily, just again, looking at it from this angle here, those easily are 20, 30-foot flames. What would you guesstimate from your location?
Yes, William. I'd have to agree with you. Those are at least 30, 40, 50-foot flames that we're seeing in those trees right there. And my heart really goes out to these people, William. As we're pulled over here on the highway, we just had a lady that lives 6 miles up the road, and she's distraught, William. She doesn't even know how to get to her home. She doesn't know if she's got a home.
Mike, can you back your shot out just a little bit? It's a little too tight. We just can't really make out anything there. I don't know if you're able to back that out just a little bit. I know you're trying to give us
I just did, William.
Okay.
But this is a horrible fire. From everything we can see here, William, huge flames. Just it is very upsetting out here. Like I said, we just had a lady ask us how to get to her home, and we brought her to the law enforcement up here, and she lives. Ultimately, her home is probably in the path of this fire. If she's 6 miles down the road. So this is very upsetting out here. This is a very intense fire. Multiple agencies are on scene on it. Of course, the forestry department. Everybody's going to be on this fire. This is a huge fire, William. Huge flames that we're seeing. Probably at least 40, 50 feet flames that we're seeing, because we're miles away from it here. We're about as close as they'll let us. Law enforcement will. And this is just very, very intense, William. Our hearts really go out to these people.
No doubt about it, Mike. And again, Dewey County's been hit so hard, it seems like, over the last 5 to 6 days with these fires. And again, here's another one today. And again, just another not good situation here. And so again, this is in Seiling. I just want to reiterate this information one more time here, that again, this is a wildfire warning for the town specifically of Seiling in Dewey County. You're being urged to evacuate. If you live in Seiling, you're being urged to evacuate to the northwest if possible. There are shelters open in the Woodward area. And in fact, in the Woodward area, the Faith United Methodist Church has opened its doors. Again, in the Woodward area, if you're able to evacuate Seiling, and again, you're displaced by the fire, the Faith United Methodist Church, that would be the place to go, at least temporarily right now. Again, while the fire officials are at least trying to get a handle on this wildfire. So again, not a good situation. This is Seiling, western Oklahoma, northwestern Oklahoma, Dewey County. And again, you're taking a look at live shots here from both of our storm trackers, Mike Russ and also Aaron Spencer. And again, the flames coming up now, even on Aaron's shot, you see there on the right side. Aaron, you're still on the live line with us here. Those flames, and again, they're wind-energized flames. The wind is fanning these flames. And, as these, wind gust comes up, just like your campfire, as a gust of wind comes up, it gets big and brighter. What would you estimate the size of the flames as you're looking at this fire, Aaron Spencer?
Yes, William. I would estimate they're at least 100 feet to 150 feet up in the sky. We've got 2 airdrop planes. One just went right over top of us within, well, I'd say 50 feet of the top of our vehicle right now. So they're trying to get this fire out as it's coming through. And, I mean, these flames, as soon as they hit these cedars, I mean, they're going up quick. So we're going to be watching this. I know one part of the fire did already jump the road just to our north, actually just to our east. So we're going to be watching that here for a couple more minutes. We're actually going to be having to get out of the way here for just a minute because this fire is about to jump the road right where we are.
Yeah. Try and hold that shot as long as possible, Aaron. I mean, that's a great shot that you have right there. Mike, Russ, so our storm trackers are on each side of the fire. Aaron is on the east side of the fire. Mike, Russ is on the south side of the fire. And so we're looking at 2 different perspectives here with the fire. But Mike, you're on the south side. We can actually see, again, the smoke and the particulates there being blown off to the northeast. But again, from your location, you've been essentially tracking this fire as we've kind of gone throughout the afternoon, getting on the scene of it there. Go ahead again from your vantage point as well. Go ahead and give us a live update.
Yes, William. Here in a minute, you'll be seeing some of these flames in our shot. But again, these are huge, huge flames. As they're hitting these cedar trees, they are literally just, these trees are just exploding, going up like matchsticks out here, William. Extreme amounts of smoke on 270. They are turning people around off of 270, taking them back towards the Woodward area, so back westbound right now. But this is just a massive fire. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. This is just massive, William. These flames out here, we're seeing them at least 50 feet tall in spots. Every now and then, when we get a big flare up, they might even be going over that, William. These are huge flames out here. This is a very, very intense wildfire. I'm gonna try to go ahead and tighten the shot up here because we do have a lot of like fireballs and huge flames going up just in this area. And this is, I mean, just it's breathtaking out here, William. I don't even know what to say. I know there's going to be a lot of property damage out here. We don't know of any structures that are in the way right now, but this is a very fast-moving fire, William. We're watching it right now, and it is a very bad situation out here, William. That is, and I believe that's going to be even an understatement here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, sometimes you're almost at a loss for words in situations like this because, again, as you're seeing, and again, Mike lives out in western Oklahoma, so this is kind of his backyard, so to speak. So again, as he's watching this and seeing this video coming in, I mean, not a good situation there at all. Aaron, you've got the other perspective of the fire there on the eastern flank of it, I believe. Again, from your vantage point, also go ahead and give us another update. Again, we're just kind of flip-flopping between our storm trackers here again because they're on the scene and they're able to see these minute-by-minute changes with the fire. Go ahead and give us an update and also let us know, have we received any information? We have it here in the forecast center from the fire officials as far as agencies involved, but I believe you did say there was just an airdrop a few minutes ago on the fire. Was that right, Aaron?
Yes, William, that's correct. Again, we are sitting on east 270 road. We changed our position here just a little bit. Another airdrop just went overhead of us, dropping water on a small little fire here, so it didn't cross over the road. But the main fire is just to our north right now. Again, most of it has already crossed over the road, but I don't know if you're able to view our live stream. I think you're going to have to re-upload it because the computer did have some short technical difficulties. But yeah, there's another couple of cedar trees going up right now. So I mean, this fire is just growing in size, and like the fire a couple days ago, I don't see this fire getting out anytime soon. We can hope and pray that it does, but with the winds and the temperatures and how low the dew points are, that's just all making it worse for the firefighters. William, back to you.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Aaron. Let me know when your stream's up. I think your stream did freeze just momentarily, but let me know when your stream's back up, and we'll be able to go and kind of redouble box it. But I think yours did maybe momentarily freeze up there. We've still got Mike Russ's stream, and there we go. I think, Aaron, we've got your stream back, and you know, we're seeing the smoke blowing across the road from your shot here. So again, fairly dynamic. We're going to go and put the two box here back up. And Aaron, I mean, from your vantage point, how far are the flames from where you are right now? Are you just getting the smoke debris, kind of like the downstream smoke, or how close are the flames to you right now?
William, I'd say the flames for me are about 100 to 150 yards. I mean, we're right here up on it. Multiple agencies, firefighters up here right now. They are blocking off the road. Off the road that we're on right now, just 2 hours south, and again we're on 270, so that's going to be blocked here right at the intersection of Oklahoma Highway 51 going east. So they're going to be blocking off that road as well.
Hey, Aaron, let me ask you a quick question. I don't know if there's any way you can kind of reposition a little bit just to kind of at least turn your shot more to the left. That way we're kind of able to get it, because we see the smoke coming across, and that way maybe we could actually see the flames. I think the flames are just right back over in here, so I don't know if you're maybe able to kind of back up a little bit and maybe turn your vehicle just a little bit more to your left so we can get a better vantage point of the flames. And then Mike Russ up here as well. Again, two storm trackers, Aaron on the east side of the fire, Mike Russ on the south side of the fire. And again, I just want to underscore one more time and relay this information for you folks in the Seiling area. If you live in Seiling proper, there's a wildfire warning in effect. You're being asked to evacuate immediately, and you're able to evacuate to the northwest towards the Woodward area. If at all possible, evacuate towards the Woodward area. And in fact, there's a church up in the Woodward area. In fact, let me grab this piece of paper and I'll tell you, it's the Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward. They've opened their doors. Again, if you're evacuating the Seiling area, if you're displaced by the fire in the Seiling area, again, you can evacuate towards
Also,
the
more
Faith
information on that, William.
United Methodist Church. And that is in the Woodward area. Mike, go ahead and say that again. Go ahead and go. I heard you in my ear. Go and say that again.
Yes, William. 16 minutes ago from the town of Seiling, they did say the Elm Grove Church and the Fairview Community Center are also, those are both going to be in Fairview, Oklahoma. They are both open at this time for evacuees as well.
Okay, so
you're going to have three options there, everyone.
And that's great information. So again, if you're being displaced by the fire right now, that is where you can go. Of course, it's just Oklahomans helping Oklahomans, so that's always a good thing. But again, the main takeaway from this is if you are in the Seiling area, the best thing to do right now, again, is abandon your home, unfortunately, and go ahead and evacuate. And again, towards Woodward if possible. Again, Fairview, the community center is also open in Fairview. But again, it's better to evacuate to the northwest only because this fire is moving northeast. Not that it's going to reach Fairview, but again, depending on what road you're having to take, you don't want to get crossed with this fire. It's better just to go northwest away from the fire and again, head towards Woodward. And again, the Faith United Methodist Church, they have opened their doors in Woodward. If you do need to evacuate, then again, also in Fairview, the community center there as well. So Mike, you're still looking at this fire. Again, we've kind of got a double vantage point here. Again, the south side with Mike Russ, the east side of the fire with Aaron Spencer. And Aaron, let me ask you something here just real quick, because it seems like, I mean, as far as the smoke plume goes, just over the last 5 minutes, it seems like it's, I mean, for lack of a better word, it's just not quite as big as it was maybe 10 minutes ago. Are fire officials starting to get any kind of handle on this fire from your vantage point there, again, on the east side, the east flank of the fire? And I know you mentioned there's been 2 airdrops since you've been there. Are at least starting to put a dent in this fire at all? Or again, just from our vantage point here, it does look like the smoke plume is not quite as big. Update us on that.
Yes, William. Right where we are, the small airdrop plane has done a good job at putting this small fire out. There's going to be another fire to our west. That smoke plume down there has gone down some, but the fire that we're on right now, I mean, if we were to pan over to our east, smoke plume is huge.
Okay, and we may be losing Aaron there for just momentarily. We're losing Aaron. We're going to check right back in with him. What I want to do, so we're looking, Aaron's on the right-hand side of your screen. Let's go to the left-hand side of your screen. That's the south flank of the fire. That's where Mike Russ is. And Mike, again, you've essentially been out in Dewey County all day. You're on a different fire in Putnam, and now you've moved obviously up to this much larger fire in Seiling. And this fire was explosive as it started fairly small. And again, with all the wildfire conditions today, temperatures in the 90s, humidities near 10%, winds gusting over 35 miles per hour, this fire quickly exploded there around the Seiling area. But you're looking at it from the south side. From your vantage point, also go ahead and give us an update. Again, just from here, it looks like the smoke plume, again, just for lack of a better word, is getting a little bit smaller. There's been at least 2 airdrops that we've seen now so far. Again, from your vantage point, what are you seeing on the south side?
Yes, William. We're going to be on the southwest side of this fire, and I almost hate to say it this way, but I think looks are kind of deceiving us here. The winds have actually started coming up in this area, and I believe it's kind of keeping the smoke a little bit closer to the ground now. Because earlier, I mean, we were able to see a ridge, and we cannot see it at all anymore. So the smoke has kind of sank to the ground a little bit here. I know the fire trucks, we had some fire trucks leave the fire, and they're all starting to return back here. I'm going to guess they had to refuel their tankers here so they can get back on this fire. But this is a very intense fire, and where we're at, we've actually got little flare-ups, I mean, just right to our southwest here, or southeast, sorry. I'm kind of watching a little patch of trees that there's a home embedded in that, and every now and then it keeps disappearing into the smoke here, and I keep watching for that area. But William, this is very intense. We have road graders out here. They're doing everything they can to try to contain this in any way, shape, or form. But this is a very, very intense fire out here, William. I don't see it coming down anytime soon, honestly.
Hey, Mike, I just want to pass along this information again, just one more time. Again, for our friends there in the Seiling area, if you have friends, family, and loved ones in the Seiling area, obviously with all the smoke in the area, they most likely know what's going on. But again, if for any reason you do have friends, family, loved ones in the Seiling area, you may want to give them a call, text them, make sure they know what's going on. But again, there is a fire warning in effect for Seiling proper. And again, the residents there are being asked to evacuate. And if they are able to evacuate to the northwest, that would be the preferred route towards Woodward. And in Woodward, the Faith United Methodist Church has opened their doors again to evacuees from Seiling. If you're not able to go northwest, also towards Fairview, which is in Major County, the community center there has also opened their doors as well. Evacuating to the northwest would be the best course of action, as this fire is actually moving to the northeast on southwesterly winds. It's being blown to the northeast. And again, you can see exactly how gusty those winds are. Again, you can see these smoke and particulates here. And again, you can just see how they're being blown in the wind there. Winds are gusting over 30 miles per hour. Temperatures are over 90 in western Oklahoma. And again, unfortunately, the humidity there is now less than 10%. So again, those are all the fire danger ingredients that we look at on these really extreme fire danger days. And really on a day like today, just like last Thursday and Friday, it's really over that extreme threshold. This is significant fire danger. Fire danger days like today, and even the ones on last Thursday and Friday, a lot of times in Oklahoma, these only happen once every 5 to 10 years. We have a fire danger season. They're normally not quite as intense as what we've seen over the last week or so. And again, it all has to do with the extreme drought that we've been dealing with in western Oklahoma. And again, just kind of these weather setups that we've been getting, where the dry line moves into western Oklahoma. Unfortunately, we're not talking about any rain or thunderstorm activity like we typically would be talking about this time of year. They come through dry. And again, as we get those setups and we get this ultra low humidity, again, humidity is less than 5%. You're talking about, even out in New Mexico and Arizona, that's even low for that part of the country. And of course, that's the desert. And so, fires are in other words, fires, they're able to grow and spread a little more rapidly, again, in the lower humidity. So again, when you're talking about a humidity of 5%, temperatures in the 90s, dry vegetation. This is just a tinderbox. And like I said, this is really the third day over about the last 5 days that we've just seen these off-scale extreme fire conditions. So Aaron, I know you've just repositioned there. So Aaron Spencer, his video here on the right-hand side of the screen, I can see you just repositioned there. And it looks like at least the part of the fire that had jumped the interstate, they were starting to kind of get a handle on that. But it looks like still on the other side of the highway there, the fire's still going. So go ahead and give us an update. Tell us exactly where you are now, again, since you've kind of repositioned there. And again, give us the latest there from your vantage point.
Yes, William. We are still on US 270 West. We're looking at the opposite, or the east side of the highway. Of course, like you just said, the fire has jumped the road, and it is now behind some structures. And the flames that we're looking at right now are at least, I would say, about 200 feet up in the air right now, because they're hitting all these cedar trees. And some of these cedar trees are pretty tall. So, they're hitting all those, and then the flames are going up, plus all of the heat lifting those up as well. Also, another bit of information, there are 4 airdrop planes here now. We've been seeing them fly around since we got here. So they're just trying to figure out where the best places to dump the water that they have. But they've been doing a tremendous amount of help. These flames are just so big, and the wind, is blowing at a high rate of speed. So, it's just kind of hard to judge on where they're dropping the water. And also they're having to, battle with that because the winds are blowing out of the south. William?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Aaron. And again, those winds easily over 30 miles per hour. The last live reading I saw here, southwesterly winds right around 35 miles per hour. So those fires are easily able to spread from the southwest to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. Then also keep in mind the embers, just like on a campfire. When you have a campfire and you see the little embers going up, same thing with these. And as those embers fall, again, if they're still energized, if they're still hot, they can easily start fires downstream as well. But again, this is a major fire showing up. And in fact, even on radar, what I want to do, I actually want to show radar here real quickly. And again, just to kind of orient everybody with exactly where we're talking about. The smoke plume, it's now really showing up well on radar. And what I'm going to do, I'm just kind of working the radar here so we can see exactly where it is that we're talking about. Let me go and click it over here on the weather computer. So just kind of bear with me while we're clicking a couple things. And then let me go switch this here as well. We're going to get right back to the live video, obviously. But again, I do want to go and take a look at the weather computer and again, just show you kind of geographically where this fire is in relation to where we're talking about here in Oklahoma. So let me go and kind of click this here. And like I said, we'll go ahead and get that pulled up. Mike, we're still looking at your shot there on the left-hand side of the screen. It's been just a few minutes since we talked to you. Go ahead and give us an update from your vantage point on the southern sides of the fire there as well.
Yes, William. Our shot will be changing. We've had to relocate. We have another little fire just southwest above that kind of sparked up a little bit more than we'd like. So we were kind of caught in a rock and a hard place. We had to kind of back out. We're going to be looking for a place to turn back around. But William, this is again still a very intense fire. Just massive flames coming out of this. 270 is closed out here. There you won't be able to see much past where we were parked. It is just extremely thick smoke, low smoke. But again, huge flames south and north of 270 right now here on the western sides of that fire, William.
Mike, let me do this real quick. I want to show it. It took us a second there to get the radar punched up. I'm going to switch from the video here just momentarily. And again, I want to show exactly where we're talking about because this fire is now showing up on radar. The smoke plume is. And so again, here's Woodward. Again, this is far northwestern Oklahoma. The Oklahoma City Metro would be right back down in here. This is Blaine County. This is Major County, Fairview. Again, if you are evacuating the Seiling area, this is Seiling right here. And again, you can see the origin of the fire being right back down in here. It's being blown, and the smoke plume is being blown to the northeast, again, on southwesterly winds here. So again, that's the direction of the fire movement, the fire spread, and also that smoke plume there as well. But again, the community center in Fairview, and then also the United Methodist Church in Woodward, those would be the evacuation shelters. Again, if you're in the Seiling area, and again, you're evacuating. So again, just to kind of geographically show where we're talking about and what's going on. But again, all that's up there in northwestern Oklahoma. But again, just to reiterate one more time, if you are in the Seiling area, you have friends, family, loved ones who live in the Seiling area, again, it's better to call them, text them, make sure they know what's going on. That again, folks there in the Seiling area being asked to evacuate, wildfire warning in effect. And again, if they can evacuate northwest towards Woodward, that would be the optimal route. That would be the best route to use, away from the fire movement. And again, the United Methodist Church in Woodward has opened its doors, again, for any folks that are kind of temporarily displaced as we go through the late afternoon and evening, again, with this wildfire warning now in effect there for the Seiling area. So Aaron, we're still looking at your video. It's still fairly dynamic there on the right-hand side. Again, you've repositioned. You're basically right there now back at the origin of the fire. Give us an update from your location and kind of tell us what you've been seeing over the last few minutes.
Yes, William. Again, we're sitting on 270 West right now. Again, watching as this large wildfire has, again, crossed the road. And it's right behind a couple structures, at least 5 to 10 brush pumpers, and I think a tanker or two has went that way so they can try to get that fire contained back there. But, I mean, as you guys are viewing at home or even on the mobile app, you know, this fire is very large, as you guys can see the smoke plume in the video. And I mean, again, like I said earlier, I don't see this fire going out anytime soon because of, you know, how high the winds are and also the temperatures. You know, that's just playing a key role as of this historic fire danger day has, you know, just, you know, shown what it can do. And as we're watching this again, we're going to be trying to give you guys live reports as much as possible. But anybody in the line of this fire that's anywhere close to it, it is, you know, many belongings that you can, and just try to get out of there as soon as possible. William, back to you.
Okay, Aaron, really appreciate that update there as well. And again, Mike on the left-hand side of your screen there, Mike Russ, one of our senior storm trackers, again, just kind of repositioning there as well, but he'll have his video back within range coming up here momentarily as well. What I want to do, let's go and talk about, again, some of the ingredients of this fire. We're going to get right back to the live pictures, again, coming up here momentarily, but I want to talk about the temperatures out in western Oklahoma and also the wind out in western Oklahoma as well. And again, you can see where the fire is currently in the Seiling area. Live numbers here. It's currently 92 degrees in Seiling. We're now approaching 100 up in the Buffalo area. We have southwesterly winds coming in right around 30, 35 miles per hour. And again, the humidity is approaching 10% or less in far western Oklahoma. That's all the criteria along with the extreme drought conditions out there. Again, this is a once every 5 to 10 year event in Oklahoma, but it wasn't just today. It was also last Thursday, last Friday. We're having multiple days now of this, again, what some folks are calling historic fire danger in Oklahoma. Again, a lot of times we'll talk about extreme fire danger. And again, this is essentially off the chart of even extreme fire danger in Oklahoma. Of course, we do have a fire weather season, but even by Oklahoma standards, again, these are, you know, extremely enhanced days of a fire danger that, again, we not only dealt with last week, but again, that we've been dealing with, again, today here as well. So what we're doing, we're looking at our Storm Trackers video now. We went ahead and pulled that back up. Mike Russ's video on the left-hand side and Aaron Spencer's video there on the right-hand side. And what I want to do, I want to check back in with Mike. It's been a couple minutes now since we've talked to him. And Mike, we're looking at your video. It looks like you got repositioned there. And it looks like you're still maybe there on the southern sides of the flames and of the origin of the fire there. But go and tell us where you are now since you're repositioned, and go ahead and give us another live update.
Yes, William. We are looking up. We had to come back towards Seiling a little bit, and we're looking back at the fire right now. And William, it is still just a huge fire out here. Now we are in a completely safe spot here at this time, and so this fire is still going to be east of Seiling, Oklahoma, but it's going to be on the 270 highway area here, between Seiling and I believe it's Canton out here. But again, this is still a huge fire We're not seeing any containment on it on our end here. It does look like it has completely jumped 270 here. But again, just a huge fire. The smoke plume is actually being kind of pushed down as the winds have kind of picked up a little bit out here. But this is, so the ground smoke is just, I mean, it makes it hard to breathe out here even. But this is a very dangerous situation. If you are in the path of this, I know our weather radio in the truck just went off. They keep issuing fire warnings. If you are in the area here, please go ahead and leave the area if you're underneath that evacuation. This is not a fire to mess with. It is moving quickly. It is a very powerful fire. Huge flames out of it. We've seen flames probably 50 to 75 feet tall already out of this thing. This is just a massive, powerful fire, William.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt, and the video really tells that story there as well. Aaron, it looks like you've also kind of repositioned there a little bit, maybe since the last time we talked to you, with your video there on the right-hand side of the screen. From your vantage point, again, we really just have to keep talking to our storm trackers. They're the ones on the ground, eyes on the fire. Have you seen any more airdrops, or have you seen anything else or any other changes since the last time we talked to you, Aaron?
Yes, William. I actually just did 2 airdrops. One of the larger planes are going overhead of us right now. It looks like they're doing pretty good with this fire. Unlike last week, they were trying to get as many places as possible. Now they're getting the head of the fire. The smoke plume, it was like dark black, like we saw a couple times before, where all the cedar trees are going up. But they're getting the water in the right places. Most of the smoke towards the head of the fire is starting to turn white, which means it's starting to get put out a little bit. There's another big burst over just to our west, kind of where the fire already went through, but it looks like a couple cedar trees are going up. And then, of course, we've got the other side of the fire that hasn't crossed the road yet. But it looks like the airdrops, again, are doing a great job, and we're going to keep watching this as the day unfolds. So we'll be giving you guys live updates as quick as we can. William, back to you.
Okay, Aaron, really appreciate that update there. And so the wildfire warning has been extended for Seiling in Dewey County. So again, for the town of Seiling, the wildfire warning, it has been basically extended. Again, if you're still in the Seiling area, for any reason you're still there, again, you may want to call your friends, family, loved ones if they live in Seiling, and again, make sure they are evacuating. Again, right now, the best course, the best evacuation route, it is to the northwest towards Woodward. And in Woodward, the Faith United Methodist Church, they've now opened their doors again to evacuees from Seiling. If for any reason you cannot evacuate to the northwest, you're able to go northeast towards Fairview in Major County. The Fairview Community Center has also opened their doors, again, for folks who are, again, temporarily at least displaced right now, again, with this evacuation in progress there of the Seiling area. But again, fire warning continues for the Seiling area. And again, the reason for that, it's essentially what you're seeing on the screen. Again, an out-of-control wildfire, again, does continue there in the Seiling area, primarily on the eastern sides of town. We just kind of bounce back and forth with our storm trackers here. Mike, Russ, your video is still on the left-hand side of the screen. Again, from your vantage point, go ahead and give us another update. Aaron says it looks like things are maybe getting tamped down a little bit, but again, from your vantage point, go ahead and give us a live update as well.
Yes, William, sorry. From what we're seeing out here, in a way, I have to agree with Aaron. The smoke is definitely not as dark as it was. But one thing I can note out here is a huge task force of some type, firefighting task force of some type has just shown up out here. And when I mean a huge task force, I do mean quite a few trucks. But I do have to agree with Aaron a little bit on this. The fire does not look, or the smoke is not as dark as it was earlier, which is usually a good sign. But it's not billowing as tall out here. So I'm hoping maybe what we're seeing out here is some type of containment, at least on this fire, which would be phenomenal. That would be amazing for it out here. but again, I mean, this is still a very active situation. I mean, I don't want anybody to get their guard down on this. I know right behind us, we're sitting right outside the town of Seiling. I'm watching people here on the east side of town. They've got their cars backed up to their doors, basically packing, stuff in their cars right now as well. So this is, people are taking this very seriously, and my heart really goes out to the people like here in Seiling. They've been for multiple days. This has been knocking at Seiling's doorstep. We also are getting confirmation from the Oklahoma Forestry Services that this is still going to be called and considered part of the Ray fire. So this will be part of the fire that started last Thursday, that it's just kind of picked up and re-sparked and made a mess out here east of Seiling, William.
Mike, great information you're passing along there. And again, unfortunately, as we've kind of been talking about these historic fire weather days, not just last Thursday, last Friday, but then again today, kind of the heart of everything that's happened, it has been out there in Dewey County. So again, this is essentially the same fire. It's kind of spread, it's kind of broken up into different pieces over the last several days. But again, everything that's happened and is happening today, this essentially started down south towards the Leedy area, down near the Canadian River Valley. We were covering that last Thursday, and there was a time when things were starting to get fairly well tamped down over the weekend. And again, obviously today with these, off-scale, critical, historic, whatever you want to call it, fire weather conditions that came back together again for the third time in probably the last 5 days. Once in a 5-year, once in a 10-year type thing that we would see here in Oklahoma, again, 3 times over the last 5 days, all of that coming together. Again, this fire, it's re-energized. And again, it quickly, I mean, you hate to use the word exploded, but this fire, as we were watching it, as it initially developed, it went from small to large quickly. And again, on days like today, again, when you have temperatures in the 90s, the humidities are near 5%, and again, winds are gusting over 35 miles per hour, drought conditions in western Oklahoma. I mean, every ingredient of fire danger came together, and that's why that fire, again, went up so quickly and was able to spread there so quickly as well. So what I want to do, again, we just want to keep checking in with our storm trackers, because they're actually on the ground. They're looking at the fire. Sometimes it's kind of hard to judge things as we're just looking through a TV screen here. But Aaron, your video there on the right-hand side of the screen, you're there on the fire as well. And I believe you're still kind of on the eastern periphery of the fire, the eastern flank there. But go ahead and give us an update from your vantage point as well. And again, give us the very latest from your location.
Yes, William. Again, we are still watching this fire as it's still growing. We're seeing a little bit over just to our west. Now the flames are starting to come up a little bit, but it's just extraordinary, William. Like you were saying, we hate to say it, but these fires have just exploded. Over to our east, we can see the black smoke, but it's not as bad as what it was. I don't see any large flames coming up at this moment. And again, over back to our west, we're still watching as this large smoke plume is just coming up out of the ground and going hundreds of, thousands of feet up in the air. So again, that's why we're able to see it from the radar. But, nothing's really changed other than the airdrops are doing a great job. But other than that, that's where we are, William. Thank you.
Okay, Aaron, appreciate that update. What I want to do, I'm going to break from the video here just momentarily. I just, again, geographically want to show exactly where this fire is, again, just to kind of orient everybody with where we're talking about. If you live in eastern Oklahoma, you're watching us, you may not be familiar with the town of Seiling. I understand that happens. If you're watching us from outside of Oklahoma, maybe on Roku TV, our Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV mobile app, again, you're not familiar with some of these hometowns. So here's Woodward in northwestern Oklahoma. This would be Enid right back over in here. The Oklahoma City Metro will be down here on the far right-hand side of your screen. And so here's Seiling. And again, as we're looking at this here on radar, because the smoke plume is so big, the radar is actually able to pick up on the smoke and particulates. And this is the smoke cloud, the smoke plume there coming up. And again, it's moving to the northeast. It's being blown to the northeast because we have those southwesterly winds coming in, and the overall fire behavior or the movement of the fire, it's also to the north and to the northeast again because of that wind direction. Again, there's the town of Seiling, and again, as we mentioned, the best course of action if you are evacuating is to the northwest. It's again because you're moving away from the fire, moving towards Woodward. And again, the United Methodist Church in Woodward has opened its doors for any evacuees there. Also in Fairview, the community center, that could also be an evacuation route. You see that north out of Seiling and then back over here towards Fairview. So those are the two evacuation areas again for the town, the small hometown there of Seiling there in northern Dewey County. So again, as we're looking at the video, there's kind of the geography of it all to kind of tie it together there as well. And again, here's the video right here. So this is what our storm trackers are looking at. And again, the video's been fairly dynamic as we've gone through the late afternoon. Again, just from looking at it from here, again, just through a TV screen like everyone else, it does look like the overall smoke plume, the smoke cloud, if you will, is maybe getting just a little bit smaller. And Aaron Spencer, one of our storm trackers there on the ground and in the field on the right-hand side of your screen, he said as he's been there for maybe the last 45 minutes or so that he's seen at least 4 to maybe 5 airdrops, again, outside of what the fire officials are doing on the ground as well. And hopefully those quick airdrops that we've seen, again, very quick, have maybe helped to kind of tamp this down some. Now, even with that being said, the wildfire warning still continues for Seiling. And again, if you have friends, family, loved ones who live in Seiling or you live in Seiling, again, the evacuation, at least the recommended evacuation order is still in place. Evacuate, again, to either Woodward or the Fairview area. But Aaron, as we're looking at your video there on the right-hand side of your screen, like you mentioned, it seems like maybe the smoke plume is getting a little bit smaller over the last 10 to 15 minutes. And since I've kind of been here talking, I mean, have you seen any additional airdrops? Like you said, you've seen 4, maybe 5 airdrops. Have there been any additional airdrops? And again, what's going on now as far as the actual plume size?
Yes, William. There was actually another airdrop that just went through. They were just on the western side of the highway. And again, they're doing a tremendous job out here. It looks like they pretty good on where they hit it. The smoke is starting to turn more white than it was black just a little bit ago, and there's actually another airdrop plane circling just to our north. But again, we're just watching them as they're coming through, and there's 2 very large airdrop planes that have been dropping through here. I think the smaller ones went on up a little ahead of the fire so they can get areas up there, but that's what we're seeing right now. William, back to you.
Yes, William. Again, we're going to be on the southwestern side of this fire here. But again, this fire, William, it does, I do have to agree with everything. It does look like maybe its intensity is coming down just a little bit here. We're not seeing the thick, billowing black smoke that we were earlier. It is more of a brown to white smoke out here. So, and we're starting to see windmills off in the distance that we weren't able to see earlier. So I really am thinking that maybe they are starting to get maybe some containment, or at least the flames knocked down or the intensity knocked down. So that is a good thing to know. But we do know every now and then we're seeing little plumes of black smoke kind of flare up here, where the cedar trees, you might get a little patch of cedar trees that are going up when an ember gets to them or something like that. But again, it is not as intense or it is not as ominous looking as it was earlier, William. Earlier, I mean, it was breathtaking. I didn't know what to say. At least now I can kind of see through to some of the windmills that we weren't able to see earlier. The smoke isn't as dark. It is turning into more of a little bit of a white and brown color, which is usually a signification or a sign that it's either moving into kind of flatlands where they can kind of get a little more containment, or they are getting containment with the air assets and ground assets that are fighting this fire. But again, this is still a very intense fire. Still a lot of smoke. It is still a very intense smoky area here on 270. So we continue to monitor this, William, for sure out here, for the people out here in the Seiling area. We're also we keep watching the Seiling area here, and again, we're still getting smoke plumes every now and then in different areas, and they kind of come up and then they get tamped back down. We've kind of got a new area here on the southern flank that has just kind of went up a little bit here. But William, this is still a very intense fire. This is not over yet. So if you are under one of those evacuation orders, please, by all means, do take advantage of that and leave your home, because these fires will be moving very, very quickly. We've seen this one moving very quickly already. Huge flames out of it. I know, again, in Fairview, you've got the community center and the Elm Church. You've got those two places in Fairview to go to, and then we've got that location in Woodward, William.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. Great report, great update there. Really appreciate that information. And it was the Faith United Methodist Church in Woodward that Mike was talking about. And again, the reason why we keep mentioning those is, again, for the folks in Seiling, again, you're still urged to evacuate the Seiling area. A wildfire warning is in effect. And again, if you can evacuate towards Woodward, that would be the best course of action. And again, the Faith United Methodist Church, they've opened their doors, again, for any folks that are at least temporarily displaced by the active wildfire. And then also the Fairview Community Center, and that's in Major County. That's just north and then also east of the Seiling area. So again, you folks in Seiling, again, go ahead. If you haven't already, of course, evacuate. Those will be the locations to go to, again, away from the fire. Let's go and take a look here at, some winds as well. And I'm going to punch this up over here on the weather computer. We'll take a look at live wind gust. And as we do that, it really does not look like the winds have eased down much at all. And of course, all that really ties in on days when you're talking about fire danger, the live wind gust. Again, what direction are the winds coming from, and well, exactly how strong are they? And again, as we take a look at these live wind gusts here, specifically up here in northwestern Oklahoma, in Seiling, the winds are still coming in really from the south-southwest here, right around 32 miles per hour. So that means the fire is spreading really to the north-northeast, not necessarily northeast, but north-northeast. That's where the fire spread is. You can see just south of Seiling, we're still getting wind gusts over 40 miles per hour. So the wind somewhere between 30 and 40 miles per hour, again, there in Dewey County. So again, they're still quite gusty. In Woodward, the winds are gusting to near 50 miles per hour. You see that right there. So again, all that ties into this fire danger. It all ties into that spread index, or again, how far or how quickly these fires can spread as well. The other thing to really look at, it's the temperatures. And again, as we take a look at live temperatures here, look at Woodward. It's currently 98 degrees in Woodward. And even in the Seiling area, it's currently 94. So, this is summertime type heat that we're talking about here in April, again, with the drought criteria, with the gusty winds, and then again, the humidities in this part of the state are running right around 10% or less. So it's been a tinderbox as we've gone through the day today. And again, a lot of folks are calling this either historic fire danger, significant fire danger. But again, I can tell you these type of fire danger days like today, this generally happens maybe every 5 to 10 years in Oklahoma. But it wasn't just today. We've had 3 of these now over the last 5 days, Thursday, Friday, and now today. So over the last 5 to 6 days, 3 very significant fire danger days. And again, just not a good situation. The bulk of everything that's happened as far as active wildfires, it's all been out here in Dewey County. And essentially, even the fire that we're seeing out there today, this is still the same fire that started down around the Leedy area. This is being called the Ray Fire. But again, this fire started down around Leedy in southern portions of Dewey County on Thursday. We covered it live. We covered it throughout the day on Friday. It was kind of tamped down a little bit over the weekend and yesterday. And then today, again, with the tinderbox conditions, this, again, fairly significant fire danger ingredients that came back together, it took back off. But again, this is essentially the exact same fire that now we've been dealing with for several days. It just became re-energized as we went through the day today. Let's do this. Let's go and check in with Aaron Spencer. His video's on the right-hand side of the screen. Aaron, it's been a few minutes since we talked to you. Go ahead and give us an update from your location.
Thanks, William. And we are on US 70, looking for most of the fire. Again, we kind of jumped further, but the fire over on the western parts of the road are dying down. Another airdrop came through as you were talking to Mike, but as the fire, is coming back around, these small little hot spots are actually
We may be losing Aaron. Aaron, we're losing you just a little bit. We're losing your signal. So we're going to break from you here just momentarily. We're going to get back to you coming up here in just a second. But I want to go over to Mike. He's on the left-hand side of your screen. And Mike, as we're talking to you now as well, give us an update from your vantage point and any changes that you've seen here over the last few minutes.
Yes, William. On the south side here, it's going to be in our shot. The south side has kind of re-energized here, William. It has gotten darker again. The smoke plume is coming up in intensity here on the south side of this fire. So that's going to be south of 270 again. Has kind of reignited, re-flared up. So again, this is still a very dynamic, developing situation out here. Just when we thought things might be calming down a little bit, it just kind of, something threw a monkey wrench in it and flared it right back up on us here. But again, the winds are continuously kind of picking up here in the Seiling area, which is definitely hampering the firefighting abilities out here. But again, the south side of this fire, this is going to be south of 270, does look like it has come up in intensity again, William.
Aaron, if you're still on the live line, what I was saying there, I think our audio just got kind of misplaced there. But Aaron, what I was saying, we're looking at Aaron's video there on the right-hand side of the screen. It looks like a lot of the vehicles aren't necessarily moving, almost like they had closed the highway momentarily. And I didn't know if that was because the fire was approaching the highway or if it had maybe tried to jump the highway, Aaron, where you are. But from your vantage point, go ahead and give us an update as well.
Yes, William. Again, we are on 70. Just to Seiling, and block the road at that next intersection because the fire has already jumped over, but also because they're evacuating out of Seiling, and this is so dense right now.
Okay.
When we first got on here, I can't see that intersection. That's how thick the smoke is. And as you guys have probably seen all the stuff that I went through, that's a really bad thing.
Okay, we're still losing Aaron. Aaron, we're going to break from you, and I hate to do that. I appreciate your update. Again, have to realize cell phone service at times is kind of spotty where these guys are. And again, that's just what we're running into. So it sounds a little garbled there. That's the only reason why we're going to break from it. But again, Aaron Spencer doing a great job. His video there on the right-hand side of the screen. And again, I want to update something here real quick as well. We've been talking about the evacuation point at the First United Methodist Church. The Red Cross has also now set up. They're setting up now at the First United Methodist Church. So again, if you're basically evacuating the Seiling area, you're heading to the northwest. Towards the First United Methodist Church in Woodward. Again, the Red Cross has now set up they're actually there on scene, and again, they do have some supplies and such. So that's all the information at least we have on that right now. But of course, if the Red Cross is there, again, they'll bring in some, maybe some food, some bedding, some blankets. Hopefully folks are not having to actually spend the night there. This is just, again, temporarily displaced while the active wildfire is in progress. So With that being said, we've got two different vantage points going here. And again, this is all essentially from the ceiling area. Mike on the left-hand side of the screen, on the south side of the fire, and then Aaron Spencer on the far eastern fringe of the fire, and that's on the right-hand side of the screen. We're still trying to make contact here with Aaron. His audio is a little bit intermittent. We're doing the best we can with it. Of course, it's a fairly rural area, and there's a lot of folks obviously trying to use cell service in that area there as well. But what I want to do, I want to go back here to the left-hand box, and I want to talk to Mike Russ again. He's still on the southern sides of the fire. And again, Mike, from what you've been saying, and we can really see it now in your video, that fire is re-energizing there. Again, we're seeing the smoke plume getting quite a bit bigger where it was at least trying to get a little bit smaller. But give us a live update from the south side of the fire.
Yes, William. Again, this fire is, the south side is re-energizing. Like I said, it does look like it keeps coming and going in intensity, but it has definitely re-energized here, at least in its size. The plume is not going as high, but it has darkened up, and it is definitely a billowing smoke out here. But this is, again, a very intense fire. We're not seeing the flames we were earlier. I believe we're going to be a little bit too far to the west, but we had to do that for safety reasons at this time. But again, this is a massive, massive fire out here. And like I said, the south side does look like it's kind of re-energized here. We are getting a darker smoke again. We keep looking for flames because we see an area right here that there's a big area of black smoke that just kind of started rising here. But this is a very intense situation out here. Again, 270 is going to be closed out here. You're not going to be able to go through this, nor do you want to. This smoke is very, very thick out here, William.
Mike, really appreciate that update there. Mike Russ doing a great job. What I want to do, let's go and try Aaron Spencer again. We've just had a few audio issues there with him, of course, just being kind of a rural area with the cell phone service there. But Aaron, you're back on the live line with us now, and go ahead and from your vantage point, again, you're on the eastern sides of the fire. And again, what we're doing, we're just kind of hopscotching around here with our storm trackers, again, because they're actually on the scene. From here, we kind of have limited information we can pass along, but this is why you really have to have storm trackers out on a day like today, because visually they're able to look at the fire and again, relay important information here back to us. So that's why we're really just jumping back and forth between them, again, to get an updated look at the visual, an update from them on the visual of the fire, any changes with the fire, and again, any other local information that they're receiving up there that again, they can pass along as well. But Aaron, we're looking at your shot there on the right-hand side of the screen. Go ahead and give us another live update.
Yes, William. Again, we're 70 west, just to the east of Seiling. The fire, particularly, like, again, Mike was agreeing with me, and I'm also agreeing with him, that the fire, it looks like it's starting to die down a little bit. I'm looking over to the east, though, and it still looks like that is a pretty active fire over there. But, again, airdrops have been coming through within about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, but they've just been dropping tons and tons of water on the small little spot fires as well as the bigger parts of the fire. So it's looking pretty good over here. It's a lot more clear than what it was about 15, 20 minutes ago. But, you can definitely see a large smoke plume still to our east.
Yeah, okay, I really appreciate that that update there, Aaron. Yeah, it looks like kind of that spot that your shot there almost, kind of that flare-up that you had been dealing with. It looks like the smoke for the most part, again, you can still see just at least some light smoke coming up, but nowhere near at the caliber that it was at. So it looks like they're kind of getting that area of the fire tamped down, which is good. And again, there's been several airdrops on that. I mean, the fire officials doing a tremendous job here. I mean, they have hit this fire extremely hard. There's been 5 to 6 airdrops over about an hour, over about an hour's time. That's fairly rare. Can you get airdrops that fast? That many airdrops rather that fast. And again, that's what we saw. Again, about 5 to 6 airdrops over about an hour's time or less on this fire. And again, not to take away from what the ground crews are doing on this fire here as well. But again, an Aaron specific area, the eastern flank that we're looking at there, Again, you can see a lot of the smoke almost completely gone. A little bit of a different story on the southern sides of the fire, again, where Mike Russ is. We're still looking at his video there. And Mike, that plume still looks fairly big. And it doesn't look like, at least from here, again, just looking through a TV at it, it doesn't look like there's been a lot of changes over the last 5 minutes or so. What would you say about that? Mike, are you still on the live line with us? Okay, we may have lost Mike. We may have lost Mike temporarily, but we're going to get back to Mike coming up here momentarily. But again, what we're doing, we're still looking at his video there on the left-hand side of the screen, and then again, Aaron Spencer's video on the right-hand side of the screen. But it looks like, Aaron, and even if you want to reposition, Aaron, if you're ready to do that, feel free, only because, again, it looks like for the most part, the smoke's kind of cleared out from the shot that you have right now. So Mike, I know you're back on the live line with us. It looks like the plume on the left-hand side, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is still the southern fringe of the fire, maybe the far western fringe of the fire. Tell us exactly where you are, kind of let us know what part of the fire we're looking at, and give us an update with any changes over the last 5 minutes or so.
Yes, William, we're going to be on the southwest side of this fire right here. And William, we can see flames all the way from the town of Seiling now. It has kind of flared up in our shot here just a little bit to our southeast. And this is, again, it looks like it comes down and then it flares back up. But again, those cirrus clouds that were kind of helping tamp everything down, or keeping the winds down, they have moved through this area, and now the wind, William, is picking up very intensely out here.
Yeah, Mike, absolutely. And okay, appreciate that update. Yeah, winds, as we were looking at the live wind gusts just a few moments ago, winds are now gusting 30 to near 40 miles per hour there. And so you're right. I mean, they're really, really picking up. And again, that wind is really energizing this fire. And again, you can tell exactly how strong the winds are. Again, as you're looking at Mike's shot and even Aaron's shot, again, they're stationed at different directions. But again, you can see how fast the smoke and particulates from Aaron's shot here, how quickly it's moving. And then again, the whole larger smoke plume, the whole thing you're looking at here with Mike, again, you can see how quickly that large smoke plume there, again, is being blown there off to the north and to the northeast, again, with winds coming in from the south and from the southwest. So again, not a good situation. Just want to underscore one more time that, again, officially the wildfire warning does continue, again, for the town of Seiling. This is in northwestern Oklahoma. Residents are urged to evacuate Seiling. And again, if you can, evacuate towards the Woodward area, where the Red Cross has opened up a shelter at the Faith United Methodist Church. Or again, you can also evacuate towards the Fairview area in Major County. And in Fairview, the community center has opened their doors. The most preferable place to go would be towards Woodward. And again, that is where the Red Cross has opened up at least some type of operation there within the Faith United Methodist Church. Keep in mind, hopefully these are not long-term evacuations. Hopefully this is while the active wildfire is ongoing and they're able to get this tamped down, again, as we head into the evening. So hopefully we're just talking about, again, recommended evacuations here, talking about for several hours, so kind of short term. And again, there's no major impacts to the town of Seiling. The way it looks right now, this fire is on the eastern sides of town. But even with that being said, that does not take away from the dangerousness of this fire. And again, the recommended evacuations does not take away from that. And again, right now with this fire's behavior, the direction that it's moving, overall it's to the north and to the northeast, which if that continues, for the most part, that should keep the fire just east of the Seiling area. Now, with that being said, we haven't had any confirmation yet that there's been any structures involved. But again, it's so close to town that I would most likely guesstimate that there has been probably some type of structure or structures that has been involved with this fire. So again, not a good situation up there. Definitely keep, our fellow Oklahomans there in northwestern Oklahoma in your thoughts and prayers. And again, keep in mind, just to kind of reiterate what I was saying earlier, that this essentially is the same fire that we started covering last Thursday. Over the last 5 to 6 days, we've had 3 what you could call historic or once every 5 to 10 year fire weather days in Oklahoma, but we've had 3 of those over the last 6 days: Thursday, last Friday, and now today. And again, this essentially is the fire we were tracking near the Leedy area on Thursday. it's continued to burn, and with the fire criteria coming back together today, again, it's re-energized up here around the Seiling area. So again, not a good situation there at all. Now, Mike, as we're looking at your video, especially when you're talking about wildland fires, you know, a lot of times you really have to judge the color of the smoke. You know, if you live in the Oklahoma City metro and you're maybe driving home from work and you've maybe seen a small grass fire on the side of the road, those are generally white. The smoke that comes up from it is white. It's just only vegetation there that's burning. As we're looking at this here, obviously there's a lot of white and gray smoke mixed in, but there is some black smoke in there as well, Mike. And from your vantage point, that smoke looks like it is getting darker. And, you know, sometimes that would lead you to believe that there's other things besides just vegetation involved in the fire. But from your vantage point, what are you seeing on that?
Yes, William. We cannot confirm any structures out here. I do know every now and then, like when a patch of cedar trees go up, just how hot and how fast they go up, they'll produce black smoke. And I know there's quite a few valleys out here because we're still kind of in that Canadian River Valley basin area. So there's a lot of valleys out here that are filled with cedar trees, and that definitely hampers everything because everything out here, you know, when those go up, they definitely throw off a lot of embers, and that keeps us going. And as this wind continues to pick up out here, William, that's going to just aid in the spread of this fire. But again, I can tell you one thing we're seeing now on this side. Aaron was seeing it on the east side of the fire. Now we're starting to see it on the west. There's multiple air assets that are showing up to combat it. It looks like it's going to be from both directions here now as well. But we also got a little bit of information to pass along as well from the Butler Fire Department this afternoon on one of these fires. Custer City and Butler both lost, one lost a fire truck and one was heavily damaged, and one firefighter was transported to a hospital with injuries. So this is not a good situation out here. Again, we're seeing a lot of out-of-state assets as well show up out here. Now, the far southern side of this fire that we're looking at, it has gone to a complete white smoke, and that's also where we've seen an air asset that's been circling and dumping out here. Now, just in our shot, we've got some really dark smoke almost due east of us here, so going to be crossing 270 again. We cannot tell what is on fire, but it is a very black, or getting darker as we speak here, William. But again, it definitely appears that the wind is keeping it from the smoke from reaching an elevation that's too high. But it is definitely just stalked in on the ground, William, here, and the smoke plume is traveling. If I were to guess, just the plume itself is traveling at 45, 50, 60 miles an hour. So that'll tell you kind of what the fire is doing just in itself. This fire is moving. So if you are in the evacuation notice area, definitely heed that warning. Get out of the area. Get out of the way of this fire, because these fires are going to just be fast-moving fires, William. And again, my heart goes out to the firefighter that was injured, and anybody in the path of this as well, William. So again, you know, this is a very dangerous, dynamic, ever-changing situation out here, just to the east of Seiling, Oklahoma.
Mike, Russ, great job. Really appreciate that update. Really great report there. And yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the head. You know, the fire officials that have been out there working, not just today, but again with these, you know, near historic fire danger days, three of those over the last 6 days. And again, this fire that essentially has been burning through Dewey County started last Thursday. We had it down around Leedy, and again, we covered it Friday. It kind of came down in intensity some over the weekend, but now again with the fire danger today, it re-energized there near the Seiling area. Again, the fire officials that have been working this, I mean, just tirelessly nonstop. And again, not just in Dewey County, there's been other, again, large fires around the state. And again, you just absolutely have to give credit to the fire officials that, again, have been working these nonstop. And this is dangerous work. It's not easy. They're not just out there holding a hose. This is real dangerous work. And even the air assets, the aviators that are coming in and doing water drops, it's not easy to do low altitude, low speed water drops. So again, it takes a lot of skill to even be able to do that as well. So there's a lot at play, and there's a lot of dangerous work that's being done, by those folks out there as well. So what I want to do, let's go to the right-hand side of the screen, and Aaron Spencer, we're also looking at your live shot there as well. And I believe you're still there kind of on the eastern flank of the fire, and it looks like a lot of white smoke where you are. Again, we're kind of judging this fire a little bit by the intensity and the color of the smoke, but from your vantage point, go ahead and give us an update from the eastern fringe of the fire.
Yes, William. I don't know if you can see it, but in the center of the shot, we're getting very large flames right behind that air turbine. We're about to be heading over that way so we can reposition and get a little closer so we can show you, but it's really
okay, and we may be losing Aaron. Let's give it one more second here. I'll let you try. I know you're doing the best you can. Again, it's fairly remote cell phone service out there, so we're going to try it one more time. We were kind of losing you there just a little bit. I think we've got you now. Let's try it again, but go ahead.
All right. So the flames behind this wind turbine that are in the middle of our shot are at least 300 plus feet up in the air right now. We're about to be repositioning to get a little bit closer to that to give you guys a shot. I mean, that up there is getting worse, but the stuff over to our west isn't all that bad. The airdrops is doing a great job, but just to our southwest, the flames are starting to get a little bit close. So that's another reason why we're going to be repositioning, because I wouldn't doubt that the other fire is going to be coming right through just about where we are if they don't get it down in time. So as soon as we get repositioned, we'll get back to you guys. William, back to you.
Okay, Aaron, really appreciate that update there as well. And again, Aaron's signal just a little bit intermittent there, only again because of he's rural, and again, obviously a lot of folks trying to use cell phone service right now in that area as well. I'll tell you, it's 93 degrees in Seiling, the area that we're talking about, and the winds are still coming in from the southwest now at 42 miles per hour. And so the winds have become just a little bit stronger. In fact, let's go and take a quick check here of the weather computer. And again, we'll check live wind gusts. We're going to get right back to the video here momentarily. But this is really important. Of course, when you're fighting fires, the winds are very important. As we're looking at this ceiling being right here, south-southwesterly wind, that's a 42 mile per hour gust. That means the fire has the potential to spread from the southwest to the northeast at near 42 miles per hour. And that's how these fires can quickly get out of control. That's what we've seen today. And now, again, these really brave fire officials, again, doing all they can. We've seen at least 5 airdrops as well. And again, to get 5 airdrops in a matter of, an hour and 15 minutes, not unprecedented, but that you don't see that very often. But again, we've seen at least 5 airdrops. So again, they're doing everything they can, again, to kind of tamp this fire down and try and get it under control. And from time to time, it seems like it was starting to get a little bit more under control. But from the latest video coming in, again, just looking at it here from the TV, it does not look like that is the case at all. Mike, Russ, your video on the left-hand side of the screen, what would you say about that? How are we seeing any more in the way of containment of this fire, in your opinion there?
No, William. Here on the west side of the fire, what we're seeing, it has flared up just as intense as it was earlier. It's just the wind is keeping the smoke from going so high, but it is the smoke. It's rolling out here, William. It's very low, it's thick, and it's rolling, just right above the ground here. It's I don't even know how to describe it. This is definitely a dangerous, fast-moving, extremely hot fire. This is something that nobody wants to have in their area whatsoever. Now, at this time, I can tell you, the town of Seiling, you do look to be completely safe. This fire is going to stay well off to your east. Earlier, I know we were a little bit nervous that Seiling might be in some danger, but at this time, it is going to be quite a few miles to your east. But you are definitely seeing it from the town of Seiling. But William, this is very, very dynamic out here. I don't even know how to describe it. The smoke is blackening back up. The smoke is getting thicker again, and it's just the smoke is moving at at probably 60, 70 miles an hour here, William, racing off to the north. So this is just extremely dangerous here, William. And when you see the smoke moving that fast, that tells you how quick the fire itself is able to spread and move and what it's doing. So from our advantage point, this is a very, very intense fire. We're seeing no containment now. If anything, it has flared right back up to what it was earlier, if not worse. I mean, from our advantage point, we can't see where it ends and where it starts, William. So that is a very bad situation out here. Our hearts really do go out to everybody that's fighting this fire in the path of the fire. I mean, this is a very dangerous situation. Just like earlier, we were talking about the windmills that we were able to see again, and they are completely engrossed in smoke again here, William. We can't see them again.
Yeah, I mean, just a heartbreaking situation out there, Mike. And at least maybe the one little glimmer of good news as you were talking there is that it looks like the fires are going to stay on the eastern sides of Seiling. Now, officially, there's still a wildfire warning in effect for Seiling, so we don't want to take away from that. But again, just as our guys are out there, again, just kind of eyeballing it, looking at it, if you will. Again, right now, at this moment in time, it looks like the fire is going to stay at least a couple miles to the east of Seiling. Now, keep in mind, this is still going to be several hours away, but there is eventually going to be a cold front that comes through overnight, and it's going to switch the winds back around to the northwest. So again, kind of depending on exactly where the fire is at that point in time, where the containment is, that will turn the fire. Now for the folks in Chester and even Orion, that's going to be up in Major County. Again, we're still talking about several miles to the north there. In general, the fire's burning towards your direction, but again, with that wind shift that's going to come through a little bit later on this evening and into the first part of the overnight, it should begin to turn that fire direction or the fire behavior or spread, whatever you want to call it, again, back around, moving from the northwest back to the southeast. But again, we've got several hometowns up there, not necessarily any of them under the gun right now, so to speak. But again, this fire, at least at this point in time, it is burning fairly close to several hometowns. So regardless, if you live in Seiling, Chester, Orion, regardless, we're tracking this right here, again, fairly carefully for you. And we're going to check back in with Aaron. His video's on the right-hand side of the screen. I know he's going to be repositioning coming up here in just a few minutes. So we're going to check back in with him momentarily as well. What I want to do real quick here, again, we want to stick with the video as much as possible. Obviously, that's what you folks at home want to see is the video. But I also want to put up radar here momentarily. And let me just click this over here on the weather computer, again, just to kind of orient you. And I know we've got folks from all over Oklahoma watching and folks from outside of Oklahoma as well. And I completely understand that if you live over in far eastern or southeastern Oklahoma, you may not know where Seiling is. If you don't live in Oklahoma, you may not know where Seiling is. So just to kind of orient you graphically and geographically here. So here's Woodward, far northwestern Oklahoma. Enid would be right back over in here. This is Major County, Fairview, Dewey County. The Oklahoma City Metro would be back down there to the southeast. So again, we're talking about northwestern Oklahoma. Here's Seiling, fire just east of Seiling. In general, it's spreading towards the north, and Chester and Orion would be right about in here. But again, eventually later tonight, there's going to be a cold front that comes through. And again, that's going to turn the winds around to the northwest, and that's going to change the fire behavior or the spread of the fire. It's going to turn it back around to the southeast. So again, that cold front is still several hours away. And again, you know, for all we know, this could be completely tamped down by then. It could be no big deal. Or again, it could still be burning at its current level. And again, it could, you know, do an immediate about face and start moving in a different direction. But again, for our friends there in Chester and Orion, again, no fire weather warnings currently in effect. No wildfire warnings rather in effect for you. Again, this is still well to your south, but you're seeing the smoke, and there's probably a little bit of concern if you live in those hometowns. But again, we're tracking all that right there fairly carefully. So what I want to do here is we're just kind of bouncing around with our storm trackers. And on days like today, that's really the best thing you can do. We don't have here in the forecast center in Norman a lot of additional information to pass. We're kind of relying on these guys in the field, again, actually looking at the fire, eyeballing it in real time. I'm looking at it through a TV just like you are, or through the mobile app like you are. So again, their vantage point is quite a bit better than mine, and the information at this point in time, to be totally honest with you, is a lot better than the information I'm able to pass along to you as well. So we're going to get back to Aaron. In fact, he may just bounce back on the live line. And Aaron, not to put you completely on the spot, but I think you're back on there. Tell us if you were able to go ahead and reposition, and from your vantage point on the eastern sides of the fire, give us an update.
Yes, William. We are on East 0650 Road. It's going to be a little about 5 miles from where we were. We did get to the position now. It is just out to our north. As you guys can see, the smoke plume is huge.
And we may have lost Aaron there momentarily. So again, Aaron just kind of battling with some cell phone service issues, and again, it happens again when you're remote like that. So that's no big deal. We're gonna keep trying to make contact there with Aaron, and we're gonna get him back on the live line momentarily. But let's go back over to Mike Russ. So on the left-hand side of the screen, you see Mike. He's panning around a little bit. He's really eyeballing this now carefully. And so, Mike, we're looking at your video here as well. You're on the southern sides of this fire. And again, being right there on it, just like I just mentioned, having storm trackers right there on it, you guys are able to pass along the pertinent information. But from your vantage point, also go ahead and give us an update as well.
Yes, William. We're actually here at the blockade right now. We're kind of looking at this as well. We do know it has crossed Highway 270 here. It is on the north side. But this is still a very dangerous situation. The smoke plume does look like it has a, sorry about the wind here, William, we're going to change that. Okay, but it does look like the smoke plume has kind of lightened up again. So that's usually a good sign. We're still seeing the air assets dropping water here on the western side of this fire as well.
We might be seeing an air asset right now. Mike, I hate to interrupt you. Mike, I hate to interrupt you just real quickly here. Aaron, is that might be a fast attack tanker there kind of circling. I don't know if you're able to hear me, Aaron, but we did just see a plane kind of make a low pass there. And a lot of times they'll kind of do a couple circles before they come with a low altitude, low speed pass and actually do a drop, whether it's water or whether it's chemicals. And we might be seeing the plane now on Mike's video there as well as he's zooming in. So we kind of have the plane there on both sides. So we'll see which one has it better. But Aaron, if you're on the live line, or really even Mike right now at this point as well, was that plane going to come in for a dump, or had it already at least dropped something, and was it circling back and kind of climbing back out altitude wise?
Yes, William. This is Aaron. If you can hear me, the airdrop plane was coming through. I think he was just trying to kind of see where the winds were coming out of, and then I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming back through here. So within the next 5 to 10 minutes, that plane should be back.
Yeah, and we'll absolutely watch for that and to see. So this is maybe now like the 6th or 7th airdrop that again they've done on this fire. And it's dangerous. They can't just come in low altitude, low speed. They normally have to circle a couple times and to kind of get a familiarity with what's going on, and even the wind flow around this fire as well, because it's extremely dangerous with the altitude and the speed that they come in, because if there's any change in wind flow, so to speak, that plane can easily stall and it can be a real bad day for them. So it's extremely dangerous. These guys are skilled that do it. They do it all the time. They practice this, around the clock. So they know what they're doing. But again, to actually perform that operation and that maneuver, if you will, so to speak, again, it's absolutely dangerous. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong with it, so to speak. But again, we'll see if he does circle back around and try and at least come back in for another airdrop there. So we'll see. But again, I think, Aaron, you've already seen at least 5. I think Mike's had 1. So this would be about 6, 7 airdrops. And again, that's how, how aggressively, luckily, these fire officials are able to at least attack this fire. A lot of times, maybe getting a couple airdrops on something, that happens within the course of an hour or two. We've been on now for about 2 hours. And again, being able to get 6 to 7 airdrops, that's a big deal. And that goes a long way to try and get this fire under control. So again, that's how aggressively, at least they're attacking this fire. And again, luckily there are the assets there in place that they're able to do that. So, Mike, I think on your video, I think we actually saw that that at least air asset that was coming in possibly for an airdrop. We're going to keep watching the video here. But again, as we just kind of bounce back and forth with our storm trackers, Mike, we're still looking at your video as well. From your vantage point, go ahead and give us another update.
Yes, William. I misspoke earlier. We turned around here at the blockade on 270, and as our backs kind of turned, it flared up hugely again here, William. This is a very, very intense fire. I don't see any containment on it. We do have multiple of the big airdrop units right now kind of circling here, and they keep coming in lower and lower and lower. I know a few days ago they were saying their biggest complaint was the winds. They had to try to get close to the fire without damaging those planes or getting overtaken by the wind. And I think that's going to be the situation they're trying to figure out right now, is how close to the ground can they get those planes and be safe to drop the water on this fire. The other thing is, because I've got 3 of them circling right here right now, and they are getting lower and lower each time they circle. So I think they're testing, kind of, I hate to say it this way, but testing the waters to see how low they can get to dump water on this fire here. Part of the reason why it takes so long for them to get back here once they do dump is they're having to go to Campton Lake. For our Oklahoma City viewers, that's the lake that almost ran dry a few years ago, and then we had those flooding rains, and it has come back up. That has become a huge asset to the firefighting operation out here. They've been pulling out of that lake for days now here with the Oklahoma Forestry Services super scoopers. They're just flying in, grabbing water, and getting back out here. But that takes a couple minutes to fly out there, scoop up water, and get back and be able to dump it. So it takes them just a minute out here. So the ground forces, I know Forestry this morning, William. Forestry this morning was saying that the ground assets, their biggest mission was to protect property. Their biggest mission today was not even so much to battle the fire, but wow, we got huge flames, William. But was not to battle the fire, but to protect as much property as they could. So that is, we're seeing them doing that right now. And I'm sorry, I'm adjusting the camera here. As we're seeing huge flames just to our east here, William. Just as tall as they were earlier. I mean, this is still a very dangerous fire. We're not seeing any containment on it. We're seeing a lot of people, a lot of emergency managers are showing up out here. Red Cross, we saw one of their vans parked out here just a little bit ago. Our hearts really go out to these people. And also, I want to give a huge shout out to the oil field water haulers that are actually helping. They're bringing water to these pumpers and stuff and refilling them kind of on the side of the road here. And I mean, these are 18-wheelers full of water. If you don't know what a water hauling truck is, these are kind of like those gas hauling trucks that you see refueling at the gas stations. It's one of those filled with water. And they're out here, they're refilling these trucks up. And these companies are doing that on their own.
Hey, Mike, Russ. Hey, Mike. I hate to interrupt you. I know that sounds so rude to interrupt you, but I just want to pass this along. We have a new fire warning, and this is going to be for Oakwood, and this is a different part of this fire. This is going to be in eastern Dewey County now, and residents they're now urged to evacuate southeast towards Watonga. If possible, evacuate southeast towards Watonga, and that's going to be on Highway 270. It runs basically from Oakwood down towards Watonga, but again, this is a separate component of this fire. Again, residents of Oakwood and eastern Dewey County, again, urged to evacuate immediately, and again, evacuate towards Watonga to the southeast if possible. If you can do that safely, evacuate towards Watonga if possible. But again, that's a new wildfire warning, again, for our friends in Oakwood. So there's multiple areas of concern. This is all kind of being grouped together as the Ray fire, but there's multiple components of this fire ongoing now across portions of Dewey County. But again, you folks in Oakwood, again, you're urged to evacuate immediately towards Watonga. And again, that's going to be the southeast Highway 270 if possible. Get on 270 and evacuate towards the Watonga area. So again, that's different than what we're looking at here with Mike and Aaron. So again, I'm talking about different parts of this fire, but there's multiple parts that are now quite concerning, again, burning towards hometowns. Now again, right now in Seiling, it looks like this fire, it's still several miles to the east of Seiling. Residents have still been urged to evacuate Seiling because of how close the fire is. And again, getting reports of this other fire now fairly close to Oakwood, again, with residents now being urged to evacuate there as well. We're going to talk to Aaron again coming up here momentarily. You can see his video there on the right-hand side of the screen as he's kind of repositioning there just a little bit. So we're going to be talking with him again coming up momentarily, and the video coming in there. That's quite dramatic. So as soon as Aaron calls back into the live line, we'll be talking with him. And of course, the thing to remember, Aaron's video, it's actually coming in through TalkBox. There are data partners. So the video that, again, has not been interrupted, that has basically flowed seamlessly, this is coming in through the TalkBox. Aaron's audio that he's using is actually just through his normal cell phone. But again, the data quality here, you can see it's flawless. It's moving, it's never stopped once. And again, that's the exact same thing with Mike Russ's video here as well. So again, the phone that Aaron's using today, at least, it's actually just his normal cell phone. But again, the data flowing there, flawlessly. So we just want to underscore that one more time, that when we're talking about the phone dropping, it's Aaron's cell phone dropping. And again, the data and HD quality, you see it there. Wow, just flowing just seamlessly, without a doubt. So as soon as Aaron gets back on the live line, again, we're going to talk with him again coming up here just in just a moment. But Mike, it looks like you and Jesse are on the move now again as well. Go ahead and tell us again where exactly you guys are heading, and give us an update on that, and also give us an update from your vantage point as well.
Yes, William. Due to the delay of the stream here, we are parked. We went down to the checkpoint. We've turned around. We're just to the west of the checkpoint by maybe 1/10 of a mile here, and we found us a good place to kind of stage here. So bear with us as the footage kind of catches up here. It is extremely warm out here, William. I can tell you that much. It is extremely warm. In fact, we've got multiple ambulances are even on scene here. We're kind of in an area where they're kind of staging up ambulances and stuff like that, and other efforts to support these firefighters. But again, this fire, it's not over by any means, William. Still a very, very intense fire. I don't know how else to put that. Also, I know the Oakwood area, we've been kind of in that area the past few days as well. And William, if I were erring on the side of caution, I would say the Fay area needs to also kind of be ready to evacuate if the need arises, because Fay is just right down the road from Oakwood, just to the west there, east of Oakwood. So if I were erring on the side of caution, I'd be getting ready in the Fay area. All those are real close areas right there, Oakwood and Fay. But this one right here, Yes, William. Again, like you said, we are just probably about 4 miles east of Seiling right now, watching this, and the fire is probably going to be about 3 miles to our east, and that's the closest we can get. They've got multiple roads blocked right now due to the smoke even. So it's kind of hard to get close right now because of that. But again, William, the minute things look to calm down, it flares right back up. So this is going to be a very dangerous situation. If you are under one of those evacuation orders, please, by all means, heed the evacuation, get out of the area. Again, I know Fairview has its shelter open at the Elm Church, and also the Fairview Community Center and Woodward. Also, Woodward has the church there in Woodward on 14th and Texas Avenue there in Woodward. But again, this is a very dangerous fire out here. We keep getting huge plumes of black smoke that keep going up. I don't know exactly what's burning when that happens, but I do know there's a lot of cedar trees, and the cedar trees will produce the black smoke as well, just because of how hot they burn. But this is still a very dynamic situation out here. Again, I cannot stress it enough. If you become underneath one of these evacuation orders, please heed it, get out of the area. These fires are spreading quickly. Just in our live shot, William, the smoke, how fast the smoke is moving will tell you what the fire is doing itself even. And these are very intense fires out here, William.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I mean, no doubt about it. Again, not a good situation. I guess the one glimmer of good news, at least so far, these have not moved directly into any hometowns. I mean, they've been close, especially there in Seiling, and apparently this other one now in Oakwood, fairly close there as well. But again, at least right now, they have not necessarily moved into any hometowns. But again, still frightening, still alarming. Again, if you live in Seiling, if you live in Oakwood, and again, you see all that, you see all that smoke and particulate essentially in your area. And again, also the other thing to keep in mind, of course, with this as well, it's the temperatures out there. I mean, we have temperatures in the 90s. We have winds gusting over 30 miles per hour out there. So again, all the fire ingredients, they continue now, at least even starting to head into the late afternoon, soon to be early evening. And then eventually, as we get deeper into the evening, there will be a wind shift line. There's going to be a cold front that comes through. And so as these fires are now burning from essentially the southwest to the northeast, overnight tonight, they're going to turn and eventually start burning back towards the southeast. Again, if the fire officials are not able to get them under control anytime soon. So, that's definitely something else that we have to keep in mind there as well. I believe we got Aaron back on the live line here with us. And Aaron, looks like we're looking at your video. I know it's been a little hard to kind of make contact with you again, only because you're so rural, but go ahead and give us a live update.
Yes, William. We are at East 0650 Road right now. We're at the same place that we were. We're just got a better position right now. Again, you all can see the cedar trees off in the distance. The fire is still burning pretty large and very hot. And we also have another fire that is about to come through where we were sitting just a little bit ago. But as this fire is going through, there are wind turbines in the way, so I wouldn't doubt that, within the next 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a little more, that, that the fire's going through, a wind turbine or two could be possibly on fire the next time, this kind of clears out.
And we saw that about 2 years ago with the fire up in Woods County. We actually saw a couple of those burn up, and they will because they have hydraulic fluid in them. If you look carefully here at Aaron's shot, you can actually see the flames coming up. So these are all cedar trees. That's why it's burning dark. You're seeing the black smoke right there. But again, these cedar trees, they are burning hot. And in fact, you can see some of the embedded flames, some of that orange showing up in there. But again, that's why the smoke there is turning dark. It's not a structure, but anytime those cedar trees burn, they burn dark. And again, that's why that smoke there is starting to turn a little bit darker as well. Aaron, as you've been looking at this, and again, we've just kind of been able to make contact with you again. And like I was saying a few minutes ago, Aaron's on his cell phone. He's not using the TalkBox technology. As you notice, using TalkBox, who's our data sponsor, the video never stopped, right? So the video played continuously. We just happened to lose connection there with Aaron's cell phone. And there was another hot, see that right there? See that orange? Man, that was, wow. So look at that. Look at all that black smoke coming up. Again, those were all cedar trees. Hopefully that was only a cedar tree that just went up there. But Aaron, again, as you've been looking at this and kind of eyeballing it, you know, over the last several hours as you've been there, as we're just kind of making contact with you again here, you know, it doesn't look like, it looked like maybe for a minute this was trying to kind of ease down a little bit and the fire officials were maybe starting to get a handle on it. But I would almost argue the other way, especially over the last 20 minutes, it looks like this thing is kind of re-energized and really flared back up. And again, especially as it's burning through some of those cedar trees, that's all fresh fuel for it. But as you're looking at it on the ground, again, I'm just having to look at it through a TV here. As you're looking at it on the ground, what's your expert opinion where you are right now?
Yes, William. Well, as of right now, again, like you were saying, that black smoke, and there's another large blow up. You know, I mean, my best opinion to, you know, anybody that's around here is, you know, I know this, you know, it might be your hometown or whatnot, and I know you want to watch these fires, and as we're watching this, you know, it's just the best, you know, thing to do is not to be around this as it's going on. But there's also, again, like I was telling you guys just a little bit ago, there is another fire that's close to us. And as I pan just a little bit to the left, these flames are getting pretty close to us, so we're going to have to get out of here pretty soon. But William, back to you.
Okay, Aaron. Really appreciate that update there, Aaron. So again, we're just kind of watching our video, all fairly dynamic here. And like I said, we're just kind of bouncing between the storm trackers. And again, the main reason for that, especially on days like today, again, they're able to pass along almost better information than I am. Of course, our studio located in Norman, I'm kind of watching this along with you folks as well, looking at some data coming into the forecast center, looking at some reports coming in, but they're essentially our eyes on the ground. So we're really bouncing really between them more than normal, but it's because they're actually looking at it and they're gathering information there as well. And again, they're able to kind of give us their expert opinions with what's going on. So, but this really, to me, looks like it's re-energizing. And again, a lot of the darker smoke that you're seeing here, those are cedar trees that are burning, and we've seen those hot spots develop as this fire essentially right now is moving through some type of a grove there with a lot of cedar trees, and that's why that is burning so dark. Sometimes when you see darker smoke, it's a little alarming. You start to think there's maybe structures involved. We can't confirm that there's no structures, but we do at least know it's burning through some cedar trees, and that's most likely, at least right now, why it's burning so dark. But what I want to do, let's go and pitch it back over to Mike real quick. Again, his video's on the left-hand side of the screen. Aaron has been on the easterly flank of the fire, and Mike has essentially been on the southerly flank of the fire. So we're kind of getting two different views here of it. But Mike, as you're continuing to look at the fire here, give us an update again from your location there as well.
Yes, William. The smoke is actually getting thicker again to our southeast. In fact, a windmill that hasn't been covered all day is in fact starting to get engulfed in the smoke itself now, which is not a good situation. It is definitely a very thick smoke out here, but it is a very, very intense situation out here, William. The smoke plume is staying down on the ground right now. It's not going very high, but it is a thick, dark smoke plume. Highway 270, I know what eastbound is closed down, just literally a tenth of a mile from our location, and we are on North 2300 Road here in Dewey County, right off of 270. We're kind of at a staging point here where there's ambulatory assets. But where we're at, we can't get a shot of them only because we're trying to stay out of their way here. We're parked on a little gravel pit where we're not in danger of starting any fires ourselves due to the hot exhaust of our chase truck here.
Hey,
But we're
Mike,
watching
and
them
I
refill
hate
these
to keep
tankers.
interrupting you, but look at this here. Look what's happening. So those are cedar trees going. Wow, look at that right there. So those are cedar trees going up. I know that looks alarming when you see it, but that's what happens with these cedar trees. I mean, they essentially explode, and that's what all that black smoke is there. Those are cedar trees. Those are cedar trees going up. This is moving through a grove of cedar trees. Look at that. That's how hot cedar trees burn. Look at that right there. So, and again, that's where the black smoke, and we just saw that a few minutes ago with this other patch of cedar trees that fire moved through. But again, that is burning extremely hot, and those cedar trees almost explode as tinder. You see this, look at this. That's dynamic. So if you've ever wondered what a cedar tree looks like when they go up in flames, and especially a whole grove of them, that's impressive right there. Luckily, that right there is still over an open field. Again, we're looking at this fire up here by Seiling. This is still east of town. But again, that just gives you an idea of what the firefighters, the fire officials are dealing with. And again, this fire is still spreading, on southerly and southwesterly winds at near 40 miles per hour. So again, you can see this continuing to spread here. And look at those just continue to go up. I mean, it's moving through, those cedar trees. Aaron, I think, just dropped off the live line, or we would get a live report from him. But I mean, this is some fairly dynamic video of what's going on there, Mike. And I'm sorry, Mike, I forgive me for interrupting you. I know you were still talking there, but to go ahead and continue to give us the update there. And again, Mike's video there on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yes, William, that is correct. We do believe those are kind of in the valley there, the cedar grove or cedar trees that are going up. And they do, William, they go up so hot, so quick. Wow, we just had huge flames off in the distance. That is, wow, probably 75-foot tall flames just, a couple miles to our south, and southeast, and we are seeing them out here even from our location. Wow, William, just this is spectacular. I hate using the word spectacular because it's such a horrible situation, but the flames that are shooting up out of this, the camera's not doing a very good job due to the lighting out here where we're at of picking that up. But this is just huge black billowing smoke again as these trees go up out here. And this is going to be just to our southeast. But again, good news is Seiling, the clouds or the smoke that was moving through the Seiling the smoke that was moving through the Seiling area earlier has actually cleared out. So now, the biggest danger is to the east of Seiling. We're still monitoring back behind us to make sure that Seiling doesn't become in any danger out here. But again, right now, all we're seeing is this to the east that you guys are seeing on our live shot. But again, we keep watching these fire trucks come and refuel their tankers, get back out there. They are doing an outstanding job. But we've also noticed we've got assets that are going north of 270 now. They were fighting really hard on the south side of 270. So that tells me, because we can't see the fire physically right now, all we're seeing is the low smoke just moving across the landscape. But due east of us, apparently, from what we're gathering here from just, common sense from doing this for years, they're starting to head north. So that means it has jumped 270 again and is moving to the north, which is going to be a very dangerous situation. You don't ever want to fire to jump a highway. You try to stop it at the highways at least. And they were unsuccessful in doing that here on this fire, William. Again, our hearts go out. We know Fairview has two locations that are open for evacuation or for evacuees. Woodward has its location for evacuees. I know people in Oakwood are being urged to go to Watonga. We also, William, have National Guard assets out here that are helping fighting this fire with their big water tankers as well. In fact, I was in the Army and I drove those trucks. I know they are a great asset out here. but even only they can do so much. But again, this fire is very intense. We don't want anybody getting injured or losing property from this. But I am so afraid that's going to happen, William.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Mike, hopefully not. I mean, fingers crossed. I mean, absolutely, hopefully not. So we're going to continue to watch your video there, but I mean, dynamic video coming in again from you, and also what you're seeing there on the right-hand side of your screen from Aaron Spencer as well. So extremely dynamic video coming in. And again, this is up in northwestern Oklahoma. This is up around the Seiling area. And again, this fire essentially, it looks like, Mike, I mean, has it kind of re-energized back further to the south? I mean, that's what it looks like here on just where the smoke plume is on radar. It looks like kind of the northerly fringe of the fire that maybe kind of got under control, and it looks like it's kind of re-energizing a little bit further down to the south. Would that be right?
Yes, William, that's what we have been seeing out here. But again, just like I said, within the last 2 minutes, a lot of fire assets have started going northbound as well. So we're actually repositioning. We're going to try to get a little bit closer to the south side of this fire and see exactly what's going on down there, because that is where our thick black smoke is, William.
Yeah, okay, Mike, really appreciate that update right there. What I want to do, let me go and kind of zoom out the radar here a little bit, and just real quickly, I want to show radar again, just to kind of orient everybody again with where we're talking about, because some of these hometowns you may not be familiar with, or again, what part of Oklahoma, kind of geographically it is that we're talking about. So let me go and switch this around real quick here. And again, as I do that, we'll go and take a look at radar. And again, the reason why I'm doing that, again, just to show you some of these hometowns specifically that we're talking about. So initially, as we started a little bit, almost 2 hours ago, we were talking about a wildfire warning near the Seiling area. That's the video we've been looking at. I think it's a little bit further to the south. Aaron, there's his live GPS location. You see that indication there. Possibly that's where the wildfire is, the smoke plume coming up. Now also, about 15 minutes ago, around the Oakwood area, there's also been a wildfire warning issued there as well. So we're dealing with multiple wildfires, but they're all right here in Dewey County. And of course, last Thursday, this whole fire complex that we've been talking about started down here around the Leedy area, and it's essentially been burning for the last 4, 5, 6 days now. And again, today with all the fire danger conditions, it really re-energized everything. And again, that's what we're dealing with again in Dewey County, northwestern Oklahoma. The Oklahoma City Metro would be right back down here on the far right-hand side of your screen. So again, just kind of geographically trying to orient you. Again, those are the locations there that we're talking about. And again, as we go back to Mike's video here, we're looking at it live. Aaron Spencer also on this fire as well. We're going to get back in contact with him coming up momentarily, and also again kind of check his video coming up again momentarily as well. And here's what we're going to do. While there's just kind of a little bit of a break in the action here, what we're going to do, we're actually, only because we've been on for about 2 hours, again, covering this live, what we're going to do, we're actually going to take just a quick break, and we're just going to kind of reorganize everything here, and then we're going to be coming right back with you. And let me just go and click this one thing here. And again, like I said, we'll be back in probably about 10 minutes or less, unless anything breaks before then. So we're just going to kind of reorganize our storm trackers, our information here. And again, we'll be back with you in just about 10 minutes or less. Keep it here with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. We'll keep you up to date with the latest live weather information for Oklahoma.